Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining this call. Yeah, so I would say that it's really interesting to find out that a lot of people are interested in data science and like basically what data can be used to achieve in these modern times. So the reason I'm saying that is because we're kind of having a couple of people that are joining the call very well. I don't know where they are coming from, but maybe because they saw there. I don't know. Yeah. So I would like to kickstart the session by doing a quick introduction to who our speaker is and what he's here to do for us. So as you all know, we started this kind of journey 5 days ago. We started with getting started in web development, and we moved to Flutter, then Android, and yesterday we checked out UI UX. So now, like I said, I'll be doing a quick introduction to who our speaker is, and so this is UI UX. We did all this yesterday. Okay, yeah. So here we are. We have a speaker, and I love the fact that he's a student. Yeah. So this is like giving people the chance, students the chance to like to showcase their skills and how they can be helpful to the community. So we have Fortune Adekogbe here. Fortune is a Python developer, and he's a machine learning engineer, and he's an undergraduate, like I said, of chemical engineer. He's a chemical engineering undergraduate at University of Lagos. He's the current team manager of University of Lagos Shell Eco Marathon team, and is a Python and a machine learning lead tutor at DSC Unilag. So we have a DSC like this Unilag also, and he's the lead tutor for Python and machine learning over there. So he's a student leader in so many numerous organizations also. So Fortune is interested in emerging technologies and how they can be used generally to encourage sustainable development, and he believes in helping others. Yeah, which is one of the reasons why we are doing this to help others get started in tech, and he also loves encouraging them to make the future with innovation. So thank you very much, Fortune, for joining this call with us. So I would like to give you the opportunity to do what you love doing best, which is helping people. So Fortune.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, for the introduction. All right, so I will move on to sharing my screen. Okay. Give me a moment. I'm not getting the screen I want. Okay.
Are you facing any issues, Fortune?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm coming. I'm trying to share a specific window, but it's not working out. Okay. Uh, just give me some minutes. I will use an alternate. Okay, but as we wait, I'm fortunate, like Hamid has gracefully said, and I'm a student of the University of Lagos. I study chemical engineering, and today I'll be talking about getting started with data science. So just give me some seconds, and I will be my screen will be displayed. Okay, can we see my screen?
I'm not sure we can. Okay, I think it's coming up.
All right. Okay. So I believe you can see my screen now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's quickly move on. Um, so when I got this topic, I thought about it. What exactly would I want to share to people that want to get started with data science and or machine learning? And I decided that it only makes sense to answer three fundamental questions, which is the what, meaning what is data science, what are you trying to get into, why do you want to get into data science, and then how do you actually proceed in this pathway. Those are the three questions we'll be answering today, and I hope we have an excellent time. So on to the what. What is data science and what is machine learning? Okay, so I'll start from data science. Data science is a field of study that uses a variety of techniques to get useful insights from data. You know, people say we're in a data-driven world. Some say it's the future. Some say it is already here. But regardless of what you say, it is obvious that companies and organizations are collecting massive amounts of data from their users, and they are they need ways to use this data. You get, so even if it's not from users, it could be from a device. But the key point is that people are collecting lots of data, and without techniques to analyze and get useful information from the data becomes useless. So that is the crux, and data scientists use a combination of tools, principles, algorithms, logic to make sense of just random data. Um, Data science is split into there are two different I'll say sections. So there's the predictive analysis, you can say predictive causal analysis, and then there's the prescriptive analysis. So for the predictive analysis, yeah, is when a data scientist, so we're assuming that okay, someone is already a data scientist in this case. So a data scientist uses data or infers stuff about the future from data. So we are making a business forecast. You're saying, okay, based on the information information I have about my customers, this is what they will do in the future. So, for instance, an example for this one is say you are predicting the customers that would stay with you or not. If, for instance, if it's a networks company and they have information about the data, um, information about how people purchase subscriptions and things like that. So with all that data, yeah, they can say, okay, I want to train a model that predicts whether this customer would leave or not in the next so years, you get, or so months. So that is the predictive analysis. You're not looking for something within the data. You're using data to quote unquote extrapolate. So getting insights that is not exactly embedded within the data, but you can infer based off the trend. And there's also the prescriptive analysis. So in this case now you are focused on the data. You're not trying to predict what will happen in the future. You want to know what is useful. You want to get useful information from the data. You want to know what drive information from the data to help your business. So you are not trying to look for the future, look into the future again, but this time you are looking for uh, actions that will help you succeed based on what you've done before. So it could be that, okay, based on what you've done, there's a particular, say, subscription that people don't use. Yeah, or when people use it, they eventually leave you. You get, you could say, okay, this is not something I should be using. And then, okay, I'm going to adopt whatever other subscription is there. You get, so with prescriptive analysis, you're not exactly trying to make any prediction. You're just analyzing the data. You get, and you're saying, okay, from this data that I've analyzed, um, this is what I should be doing in the future. So yeah, people, data scientists that do prescriptive analysis, they usually refer to, or they refer to themselves as data analysts, because those that do the predictive keep the title of data scientist. So when you see data scientist, data analyst, it's not exactly the same thing. Some of them are building models to do like future predictions, while some are just um, while some are just being specific about this business and data. What based on what I've done before, how can I do better, basically? So but before I talk about machine learning, I think it's right to talk about artificial intelligence as a whole. And quickly, that is just enabling machines to replicate human intelligence. So just the idea about artificial intelligence in general is letting the machine do something that you would do normally. You get, but machine learning, yeah, as a subset of artificial intelligence is one that um, devices means by which these machines now can automatically learn and improve. So the idea of machine learning is that you don't want to explicitly program a system. Yeah, you want to just specify some ground truths or variable, and then the system quote unquote learns and it can improve with experience and with more data. To draw a, should I say, a boundary. Um, imagine that you had to plan a path. Say you are going from, let's just say you have a path to plan. Basically, you have obstacles on your way, and there are choice paths. There are places where maybe you can have increased velocity, things like that. So there are different conditions, and you want to plan your path. Yeah, you it would make more sense to use a pattern algorithm and Jigsaw and the rest. But the thing about those algorithms is that they are explicitly programmed. You tell the algorithm what to do. You tell it, you know what it does. You know everything it does. In fact, the only reason why you are making it do it is because of quote unquote you want to be lazy because you don't want to do it yourself. But you know that okay, if I once I specify all these things, then the computer can just keep doing it because it's a repetitive process. So the computer can do it over and over again and get me the best path. You get, so that is an explicitly programmed artificial intelligence because of it is artificial. That's something a human being would do, but now we are programming it explicitly. But machine learning is saying we don't want to do that because we don't want to. So it gives us more range. So machine learning is saying okay, let's create systems that can automatically learn and improve by themselves with just little inputs. So they're usually referred to as black box because you don't we don't know what is happening inside. We just know the inputs and the outputs in most cases. Yeah. So we know the inputs, we know the outputs, and Okay, I'll quickly talk about the types of machine learning methods before we move on. There is the supervised machine learning, and that one, like the name implies, um we are guiding our models with things that we already know. So I'm just saying that if I have data about something, yeah, say I have image data, so pictures of males and females, yeah, and my aim of course is to just classify humans based on their looks into male and female. So Rice is saying that what I will do is I will label this image and say this image is male, this image is female, and so on and so forth. That is what supervised learning is. And then you feed in both the inputs and the outputs into your model, and then your model learns based off the input and the output, and then it comes back, it gives you the result, and you can now make predictions. But unsupervised learning, which is the second, would not take in the outputs, would just take in the inputs. So in that case now, you would be trying to look for relationships between the different data points you get. So it is you are looking for hidden structures in this your unlabeled data. Even if it's labeled, we are saying you are ignoring the label. So we'll see if we got this as unlabeled. So you are looking for those hidden structures, and then you're not using that um, to classify the data into clusters, and these clusters can be used to infer different things. For instance, if you had information about your customers, say Netflix had collects because they do collect information about their users, and they decide to cluster. They can use that to determine people that watch, the people that prefer action movies. You get, so it's like when they put that into a clustering algorithm and it gives them different clusters. From the data in that cluster, they can infer that okay, these are the people that like action movies, and then they can now continue um recommending those movies to you. You get, so that's like an application. Okay, quickly, there are two others. There is the semi-supervised learning, and then there is the reinforcement learning. So for semi-supervised, you are combining both supervised and unsupervised. Yeah. So it's kind of like um you would use unsupervised learning to get some labels, and then that's you use unsupervised learning to label your data, and then you can now use supervised learning to create the actual model. Yeah, that's one pathway. Or some other decides to, in real world situations, yeah, you may not have all the data. You cannot just go and say, okay, I want to download the entire data. You may need to um, collect it yourself. So when you do this collection, yeah, it is not depending on the source. It might not be structured, labeled. So say you want to classify cats and dogs. Labeling everything manually. So you may create a sheet and start labeling images too, and say this is a cat or this is a dog. Why not just label a few? So maybe label, if you can, 500, and then build a classifier, then build a supervised um, learning model on those 500, and then use that model to predict on all the other data, then build a new model with everything. So that's the idea. Semi-supervised learning, combining both supervised and unsupervised machine learning. And then the final one is the reinforcement learning. So in reinforcement learning, what we're doing is we're not giving it any data at the start. All that is happening is that we have we have a there's an underlying logic that we've built into the system, and then it just goes
Fortune.
into, yeah.
Before you go on, I don't think everyone can see your screen. I think you should try resharing your screen again.
Mm, interesting. Okay, I'm coming. Give me a minute. Though I think the issue is that when I join the meeting like this, the version of me that joins will not be at the top of the list. So if you don't see my screen, just scroll down to maybe the second or third fortunate data and you should see the screen presenting.
Okay.
So if you don't see it immediately, just scroll down the participant list. You'd see other fortunes, and then just click one of them. So can we see my screen now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think it should be the same for me
Okay,
too.
okay. I'm looking at the chat, so in case anybody can't, I'll see it. So yes, where was I? I was talking about reinforcement learning. So in reinforcement learning, what we're doing is we're saying um we give the model an underlying logic, and what happens is it's a reward system, quote unquote. So what the model does is it goes into the environment. For instance, let's say it was also a model that identifying, let's say it's identifying blue and red houses. So this house is blue, this house is red. The model goes and then just makes a random guess at the start because of it doesn't know anything. So from the random guess is of course 50-50 chance since it's just two. And it could call a um blue house red. If it does that, we penalize the model and tell it that no, you're wrong. You get, so it stores that and then it goes and makes another guess. You get, so as time goes on with enough experience, we find out that the model will be able to, because of the reward and the, of course when it gets it, we also, it's like we give it so when it fails, we take away, quote unquote, take away some of the rewards, and when it actually guesses it correctly, we give it like a positive reward. So um with that that reward and penalty um duo, the model will be able to learn. Yeah, so he knows that he wouldn't want to pick a house as blue because he doesn't want to be penalized. So he would pick that's the idea, the underlying logic behind reinforcement learning. So I'll quickly move on. So now there's the why. When I was writing this, I was going to write it as why should you become a data scientist, but um I decided to pick why do you, because I feel it's a question you should be asking yourself. It's not a question I should be um, answering for you. So when you've gotten that what knowledge, or you just finished answering, yeah, you know what it is. This part is saying based on what you know now and whatever previous knowledge you may have, yeah, why do you want to be a data scientist? For me, I'll just quickly tell my personal story. For me, I was working on this project like 2 years ago, I think, and it was about recycling, and we needed to sort plastics based on color. And I looked at it and was like, there should be a way to do this without having to stress human beings. So, because I went online and I saw the machinery, and I was like, interesting, because they were quite costly. But I said, why can't we? Why this is something that we should be able to do like ourselves. You get, so I did some research and found out that that is basically what machine learning helps us to. At that point in time, I didn't learn Python, so I just decided to take that as my path forward. You get, so that was the reason. Yeah. Also, I would say I just like creating things, so it's why I'm an engineer in general. So uh, creating models, things that do that help humanity in general. Sure, that is like my underlying motivation. So you need to just ask yourself why, because if you don't know why, you may be, what's the word now, discouraged at some point, and you don't have that motivation to hold on to. So I want everybody to ask themselves why during this call, after this call. Just ask yourself before you delve into this field or any field actually, why do you want to do this? What's your motivation? And when you can answer that and you are sure that this is your answer, then you can move on. Either you move on with learning it or you decide to learn something else. So and okay, so this one is just a quick try to exercise. Who I need someone to give us the result of this. What would be stored in the variable words when this code has been processed? Just a quick. Someone should just quickly one quick Pythonista should just tell us what the results would be. Because I'm sure we know the event side too. Getting started with data science. So what would this code, what would this store in the variable words? You can just type it or speak before we move on. Anybody? Someone should try now. Yeah. So event title is getting started with data science. What would be stored in the variable words? Yes. So Mary, just go to the participant screen, scroll down. You should see um and this remove one version of me so it becomes easier. So I've removed the version. So now there are just two. So just check for the other function, the one with is mic on mute. That is my screen that is presenting. So yeah. Um anybody, so we can quickly move on. Aha, thank you. So getting started. Yeah. So yeah. So it's knowing what word is, we should be able to get what the title is. So it's just how do I go about getting started? Uh, just a joke. Okay, if I move on. So how do I go about getting started? It's a personalized statement, a question, and I'm here to answer it for you. So the first thing I would advise is learning a language or not. So that is what the exclamation signifies. Learning language or not. That's for those that are not um, programmers already. So yeah, you could decide to learn a language or not. Now, for those that want to learn a language, the most popular language for data science and machine learning is Python. Yeah, I advocate for Python. So I would suggest that you go with Python. And why? Python has a large community. The thing is, how this thing works is that most developers, most people that build the libraries that are useful um, for machine learning and data science, things that will help you, yeah, are Pythonistas. So that's just what happened. So it was just people that learned Python that decided to um, build this libraries. And because of course, Python is high level, so it abstracts all the um, wahala from the C++, the lower level languages, and just makes it easy so you can focus on building and not just on all the whole static constants in C++. So yeah, that is what it. That is why. And there's also R. So literally R, the letter R, and it's a statistical language, is mainly for data science. Python has other applications, but this one, it was built for statistical analysis, data science, and then machine learning too. So they are like they are the top two, but you can use any language. It just depends on how much stress you'd like to go through, because languages like Python and R have a lot of helper libraries, things that would help you work faster. You get, but for languages like Java, JavaScript, and so on, you would need to do a lot of the work yourself. And though there's TensorFlow supports, okay, TensorFlow is like a machine learning library. What you use to build your model itself. So before you build your model, you would have to do some processing, and that is the part that might be difficult. You get, but once your model is ready, and once your data is ready for the modeling part, there is support. So that is the one where you may not have to stress yourself, depending on the language. But there's support for different languages. You get, it's just picking what suits you best. I would advise Python, but you could decide to go with R or any other language. So I said or not, and that was because there are no code solutions to can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there are no code solutions. So where you don't have to program, you don't have to you don't have to program in general. You just have to learn that software. So of course, those that know what to learn a language will be skipping that step because they don't have to learn a language. You can see my screen again. Uh, I'm coming. Let me. Okay. Let me just share again. Mm, share my entire screen. Let me make it easier. Well, that's my screen now. Okay. Now I can't see the chat, so you may need to respond verbally. Can we see my screen?
Oh, I don't think so. I can't.
You can.
No, 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 I can't.
Mm. How about now?
Yeah, it's working now.
Okay. Okay.
So I think the issue was with you trying to share a particular tab, but when you share the whole screen, I think it's working perfectly now.
Yeah. It just makes it easier. Anyways, let me get into full screen. Okay. So this is where we were. Quickly about the languages again. There is Python. There is R. There are other languages. So if you're coming at any other language, you may want to try it out with that language. But I would advise Python and R because there's a lot of resource on the there are lots of resources on the internet to guide you with Python and R. Yeah, but for other languages, they might make your learning curve quite steep. You get. For those that do not want to learn a language, you could decide to um just learn. That's number one, step two. So familiarize yourself with the user interface and features of the software you're using. So some examples of the softwares are um, Tableau, there is Power BI. I think there's one other, but those are the two that come to mind right now. There is also there are also cloud platforms. So we may be familiar with Azure, GCP, and AWS. They are cloud platforms that provide a range of services, and fortunately they also provide machine learning services. So this is called Cloud ML, and the idea behind Cloud ML is that it just gives you an interface, and then you just use this to do what a Python developer would have done with code. You get, so you create pipelines. You say you process the data, you clean the data with a user interface. So there's that. They also have already optimized models. You get that you can just create an API from, and maybe you just tweak it a bit to fit your use case. You get, so all those ones now you don't need to code per se. You just need the knowledge. You get, because there's the syntax and then there's the knowledge I use to do data science or do anything. So it's like knowing how to think. Yeah, you don't need to be able to write to know how to think. You get, so you need to be able to write the code to know how to think like a data scientist. So that is what all those no code platforms will help you do. The first two I mentioned are more of visualization and analysis softwares, Tableau and Power BI. So those ones now they'll be towards data analysis now. For those that learn the language or that will learn a language, you don't familiarize yourself with the different relevant libraries. So it could be um, two popular ones, NumPy and Pandas in Python. Then from there you want to do Scrapy, that's for web scraping, or Beautiful Soup. They have interesting names. So yeah, Scrapy, Beautiful Soup. Then you can move on to SQLN. I'm just naming the libraries you get. So depending on what you are doing, yeah, at a particular stage, you learn the relevant library for that, and then you familiarize yourself with this. You do mini projects to be sure that you understand what it is you get. So this said, advise that I advise that okay, my personal advice really is that you learn a language and then familiarize yourself. Then you can also learn the whole no code solutions. I feel like it gives you more, what's the word? Should I say freedom? It makes you're not restricted. You guys, because all no code platforms so far have their restrictions. You can't do everything that you'd want to do. So in the same way, Python is like abstracted from the machine language, yeah, machine code. In the same way, these ones are abstracted from what Python does already. So it's like you're taking that is a layer off, and then when you lose a layer like that, you might lose some freedom, degrees of freedom you get. So yeah, there's that. So okay, before I move on, the okay, let's see the next step, the development pipeline. So my next advice is that you get adept at any part of the development pipeline you may have missed. So I'll just move on to the next screen, and that helps us with that. Okay, so machine learning engineering. The pipeline here is just how you go from start to finish. You get the very first part is getting the data. You get, now getting data is what web scraping or simply downloading can help you do. You get, so getting data in For this, you'd use Scrapy and Beautiful Soup I mentioned if you are doing it in Python. I think I should have their versions of those libraries, but I don't know of any no-code web scraper right now. You get, so that is the limitation. If you're going the no-code path, you don't have you just be waiting for ready-made data. You can't exactly get the data yourself. And then next up is exploration and validation. So making sure that your data is what you think it should be, yeah, and what it should be, and running tests, making sure that every single entry fits the criteria that you want, so that you won't have problems later. So that's also cleaning, random cleaning, making sure that you don't have any entry that should not be in your data. Then you typically split your data into training and testing sets. So you'd want to use the test set to evaluate your model later. But for the train sets, you do is quite repetitive. So you do feature engineering to create new features from the data, because you have data in, let's say, a particular number of columns. Yeah, and that's in that form, they may not be representative of what you want from the data. So that's what feature engineering is: getting relevant information from the data that is not explicit. Yeah, so it's implicit information, but you need to do some combinations, and you get. Then there is the hyperparameter tuning. I'm not going to give high level description because of these things are quite steep. So in this one, it's just that different models have different, um, should I say, parameters that they work with. You get. So you would want to tune those hyperparameters to get the perfect combination. You get, because you don't want to, for instance, now I don't want to get to it, but it's just tuning the different factors that the model depends on to predict properly. It gets. Of course, it's in this part that you do your model selection. So in your model engineering and evaluation, that's how you select the best model based on some metrics. Metrics is just how you measure your performance. And from there, you save your model depending on how you want to save it. It can be a JR file or a pickled file. So you save your model, and then um, the other part is more of is the deployment pipeline. So you'd want to have different versions of your model, because as you get new data, you would want to update your model. You get, or maybe, yeah, you want to update your model. So you would have different versions of that model, so that maybe if a new version does not perform as expected, you can just take it down. Uh, it's basically A/B testing. So it's like you don't just completely move to a new version. Say, okay, you register your 10,000 users, and then you don't want to, even though you're taking that data, you don't want to discard the former model that was already all right to you. You get. So it's like versioning your model, so that you have those versions at hand, and in case there is any problem with your new version, you can easily switch back to your older version. So yeah, there's the deployment. For deployment, especially if you're deploying yourself, if it's not like a robust team, you probably need to learn Flask, or familiarize yourself with one of the cloud platforms to deploy your model. So Flask is a web development library for backend. It's lightweight, so it is preferred by most machine learning engineers that want to use it, that want to build their APIs directly like that. So of course the models can be deployed on the edge, meaning that you will not be creating an API. You're just going to be, because these model files that you're talking about, they're just like your normal files. When you do with all this, you generate a file, yeah, that can be put in a folder. You get, and can be integrated with your application. It's just that some prefer APIs. So depending on the technology that you want to use, you can um, either use it on the edge locally or create like an API. So that's on the cloud. So yeah, you'd the many steps where you see the RAC going up is just monitoring, so you know whether there's any problem with your model. Say when you add a new version, or there's no drop in performance. So there's that, and then you of course based on the new data that you collect, because you know as you predict, as you use the model to predict, yeah, you would want to be storing those predictions and the data that you predicted on. So if it's an image that you're predicting on constantly, you'll be storing the images and the data, and then you could use that to update your model. You get, so that is the idea. So that goes back into the wrangling and cleaning. So you want to clean that again before it comes back into your development pipeline as the data. So yeah, and yes. So how do you move on from this point? So let's say you've learned the language or the software, you've done um, some mini projects to familiarize yourself with the softwares, and you are familiar with the different steps in the development pipeline. So you know you have the ability to do everything that you should be able to do as a machine learning engineer or as a data scientist. How do you move on? My advice is that you do projects. Yeah. So yeah, to get great ideas, all you have to do is make a Google search. You get, so there's nothing complicated about that. Just make a Google search. What are interesting machine learning projects? Follow research articles on machine learning. So follow research articles, see what people are doing. If possible, try to implement some of those things, see how it works, and things like that. Then you want to participate in hackathons, because there are ways to give you that experience that you need in a, what's the word now, in a situation where you have to, you have there's a word I'm looking for, you have deadlines, and you have a goal to achieve quickly, because sometimes it's like we get lazy because of we're just doing our own project, and you could decide to just not complete it. Nobody can come for you. But if you get into a hackathon where, say, there's even a full team, so you might even have a project manager, or you have a team lead that needs to deliver, you get it gives you more. There's no motivation to complete it. You get, and there are relevant experiences. So if for those that have seen applications, you might see some applications where they say you can also, do you have relevant experience in hackathons? You get, those are the kind of things they may even ask you about in your interviews, and it just gives you experience in general. I think one last thing that I would say is um, just do more projects. Just do more projects, because if you don't do projects, you don't learn. Because you have the ground knowledge, you have the general idea about everything that you need to do, but you don't you don't know until you wouldn't be able to. For instance, if you have a particular use case, yeah, you want to do audio analysis, you get, you may know the logic for it. Say you've taken some classes, but to be able to build something like that, yeah, and encounter problems, then solve them, you need to do projects. So yes, I think that is it for me. Thank you for attending and staying up to now.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Fortune, for the beautiful session. So we would like to start taking questions now. So if you have any question, you can put them in the chats. Well, but before we go, I would like Fortune to, since this is a session that where we are kind of giving people or getting people started in data science, I would like you to recommend maybe some resources that you feel are okay for people that
Okay.
are getting started in um data science. On my end, also, I would
Alright.
share some
Alright.
resources in the chat, some links that would help everyone or anybody
Okay.
get started in data science. So,
Alright.
someone is asking, I Fortune, do you have a contact that you can be reached from? So, I don't know if you
Mm,
can maybe
okay.
share your Twitter handle or something in the chats.
Alright. I'll do that. Um, thank you. So someone already sent it. That's my Twitter handle. There's also my mail. So you can reach me at either of this. So yeah. Okay. Um about resources. So there are different levels now, depending on whether person has started uh, learning a language or the no code solution, different things. Um, Give me for those that just want to start learning Python. Yeah, I would the easiest way, most stress-free way, is just to go to YouTube and get okay. I could recommend Syntax. I hope I spelled his name properly. He teaches pretty well by my standards. So you can check him out and see if you like. I'm typing it so.
Yeah, so while you go on with that, someone else asked,
Okay.
are there online communities for people to join that you can
Hmm.
share?
Okay. Yes, yeah. Uh, give me give me a moment. Let me type this. So I hope I spelled this guy's name properly, sure. But it's something like this. If I was wrong, you will get corrected with the right guy. But yeah, something like that. So it teaches Python, even machine learning, and it can like take you through everything. But other aspects, other things that I recommend are Coursera in general. Coursera, though is a paid platform, allows you to audit courses, and they have pretty good courses from IBM, from different universities, so University of California, just different universities you get. So Coursera is one that I would really advise. I think Udacity even has they have a Python course. Let me quickly search for it.
Yeah, I
I saw like the machine learning
actually
course that's
shared some machine learning courses that are free on Udacity. So there are
okay.
two actually. So there's another one I saw, artificial intelligence. I will try as much as possible to share that in chat also.
Okay.
So someone asked a question that how important is mathematics to a data science or machine learning engineer?
Hmm. Now this question is should I say is one that people debate. Yeah, some people say they don't think it's useful. But I think if you ask me, so my subjective opinion is that uh, you need knowledge of the mathematics. So um come- so you need knowledge of the mathematics in machine learning or Python. Why? Um okay, let's say you've learned the basics of Python and you want to dive into machine learning. Though a lot of the things that you need to do are abstracted. Yeah, you don't have to do it like yourself, but you would not know exactly what you need to do if you didn't know what those functions are doing. Like I know I'm speaking like very on a very high level, but for instance, there's a library like I said called Pandas. It does a range of computations for you already, but if you don't know the computation that you need to do, you would not be able to do it because you don't know what you need to do. You get so when you see a data distribution, you need that knowledge of statistics to say, okay, if I need to make all this data, if I need to make this data in between 0 and 1, how do I do that? You get things like that. All those knowledge you need them, and that's just on that level. On the level of a full, say you've gone into machine learning itself, and you're not just doing data science or data analysis, you are doing machine learning itself. I would say that you definitely need um statistics because there are a lot of models, lots of models, plenty, and to understand how they work, yeah, and do your model selection, model what's the word now? Hyperparameters tuning. So just to pick a model and to make the model work for you, you need to understand how those models work and their the best practices where they for what kind of distribution they are useful for or not. Another very important one is the case where we have, for example, if you have data, you're saying we're classifying dogs and cats, but we were unfortunately able to get more dog pictures. Let's say the person that already likes dogs, so they just decide to download more pictures of dogs. That data set is imbalanced. You get someone without the knowledge of statistics might not consider that to be a problem because we might just feel that all I want to do is feed in data into the model and it should predict for me. You get so there are decisions you need to make. That's what I'm saying that you need the knowledge of statistics to guide you. You get um, for anyone who wants to go into research, it is that one you can't even you need to understand statistics to be able to do research, to be able to build your own custom models, you get, and things like that. So I would say, from my perspective, that it is important. You don't have to take it too deeply at first. There's fundamental statistics. In fact, if you're an engineering student, I think you'd have the fundamental statistics on it that you need. And then as you go on, you can learn, when you see new things, you can learn about them because you already have that foundation. So yeah, if you're not a science what's the word now? Someone in science field of science, yes, STEM field, you'd I would advise that you take some statistics courses or a course. You can just pick a textbook, a statistics textbook, ask someone, I'm trying to remember a statistics course but I didn't exactly take like a statistics course outside my university work, so that's why I don't have a link handy. But hmm, I will. I mean, but yeah, the idea is that you can get knowledge from statistics textbooks. There are books. You get definitely there are books on statistics. Machine learning itself actually there are books. So someone thought about communities. So there's the in your different what's the word DSC um DSC student chapters. Yeah, you you may have machine learning clubs or programming. You might have subsections in your DSS because, like in University of Lagos now, we have a machine learning training that we do every 8 weeks. You get so um, committed exams now are where you'd want to be if you are looking into data science and machine learning. You get there is there are the general Python and machine learning communities on um, either Reddit or Telegram. I prefer Telegram, so I always suggest Telegram. So I don't have your links handy because I'm using my laptop now. If it was my phone, I could have sent it. But just all you need to do here is just search. The way Telegram is. How I get myself is that I make a search and then I pick the channels with the most members, and hopefully the channels that are in my language. So if you prefer English, then you pick the English channel with the most members, and you definitely find resources. What I'll do is I will attach links to the end of my slide before I send it in to Ahmed. So I'll attach links to courses and
So
communities.
any link that Fortune or any link that we're sharing in this session, you definitely find them in the description of the YouTube recording. So this session is
Okay,
recorded. You can
okay,
easily find them in the recording.
okay. So so you can access them from there, and then like I said, if you're looking for communities, either check your local. For females, there is She Code Africa SCA. They have different student chapters. So you may want to check out the student chapter in your university. And I think even if they don't have a community like that, you could suggest it. Video that suggests it to them, and then they could work around things like that, because of communities are very important to growth and development. Okay, so the difference between
AI and ML.
AI and ML. Okay, AI, yeah, is like the supersets, and ML is a subset of AI. So AI is just saying, all AI is saying that artificial is like the word artificial intelligence. We want to give machines the ability to um, uh, do human level tasks. So give machines human like intelligence. That is the objective of AI. Now machine learning is a subset that says we want to achieve the same goal, but we don't want to have to guide the every move of the machine. We want to just be able to give the machine um, should I say, some input of logic, and then the machine should be able to learn and develop on its own based on what we've given them. So machine learning is just saying, uh, we don't want to explicitly program our AI. We want to just let it um, we want to just let it learn on its own. So that's the idea of machine learning. The other subsets are techniques where you don't, how do I put it? It's a very broad thing, because you don't need to you don't need any really complex thing. Any task that you do yourself, that you make a computer do for you. Yeah, you have in a way um built an AI. You get, of course, simple addition tasks as artificial intelligence, but it is something that you would do, and you are making a computer or a system do it. You get, that is, so it's a very broad field. Machine learning on its own is okay. We want it to do this thing, but instead of telling it 2 plus 3, you get, we want it to just be able to do this on its own without us guiding it, because we've told it that we've made it um, we don't want to give it explicit rules. So in other words, we won't completely understand the system, but the system will work, kind of like what happens with our brain. So that is why is you may have heard of neural networks. So it's like we're trying to, our end goal is to uh, recreate our brain. You get, so let the computer be able to do things that our brain can't do. Yeah, with the ease with which our brain does it. That's like the overall end goes. Yeah, just a little addition. Some people are trying to. There are different pathways to this. Some people are trying to they're trying to reform. They're trying to, like, quote unquote, decode the brain, and then build clone the brain in quotes into a machine. You get, so that's the pathway. So they're not starting from the programming end. They're starting from the brain, and they're saying they want to build a version of the brain, but in a computer. Others are saying no, we want to come from the idea of building the way we do it normally, building models that perform better and better. So the idea is that eventually our models, when brought together, can perform as good as a full-on human being, a normal human being. Yes. So that is when we would say we would have achieved artificial intelligence. So for now, um, our aim is, because the idea artificial intelligence as a statement, as two words, a phrase, is like a goal they are trying to achieve. So when we're able to make our machines do tasks that we do, yeah, without any form of support, yeah, you can say, okay, we have achieved um, artificial intelligence. And there is also something, okay, after that, it's called um, This is called artificial general intelligence, and then there is the one after that is when the machine exceeds us, and yeah, sci-fi stuff. But it actually is a possibility if we achieve artificial intelligence. Um, I don't know if I've missed any question.
I don't think so.
Okay, okay.
Oh, we're still waiting for a couple of more questions. If anyone has any question before we round up. So there's another question that just woke up. Um, how can one easily monetize data analysis knowledge?
Hmm, okay. How can one easily monetize data analysis knowledge? Okay, I'll answer the question, how can one monetize data analysis knowledge? Because I don't think it will be easy. So, how to monetize the knowledge? First, you need to, you know, there's a lot that we don't know how to do yet. You get, you don't need to solve a problem really with data analysis. So I think I can give you a specific problem that's okay. Yeah, I could. There's a problem of artificial intelligence itself that we can't solve. You get, we've not solved yet. So if you understand data analysis and data science and machine learning to that point, you would have solved that problem definitely. Is monetizing. That's on a very high scale. Coming down, jobs, yeah, because the easiest way would be to get a job or start an organization. So to start an organization, you need to be solving a problem, but if you are getting a job, you are solving a problem that someone else has identified. So it depends on what you want to do. You want to be the one solving, creating and solving the problem, or you just want to solve a problem that someone else has identified, so join the person to solve the problem. But to monetize data analysis, you need to be solving a complex problem. So you could be in a consultancy firm, where okay, you have different industries as your different organizations as your customers, and then they are saying, okay, we have this data, but we don't know what to do with it, and then your organization does something with it. You monetized your data analysis knowledge. It could be that you are employed by those companies directly, so they have their own. Because some companies have their own. Should I say internal data analysts? You get in other companies have that. So if you get employed, yeah, by those companies, you would be monetizing. And there's the general one I said before. If you identify a problem, a lot of problems, I assure you that you won't have to look too far to find a problem. But it's just if you have the knowledge, you can solve the problem. Because but some of these problems are they are quite they're quite they remain problems this far because of the nature of the problems. So they are difficult to solve. But if you have enough knowledge, yeah, you could you could find a problem and solve it. Now to find a problem, remember I talked about research research articles, following research that people are doing everywhere. I found that it's if you follow things like that, you definitely get there are a lot of problems. There are ideas everywhere. Yeah. So if you follow, I can't remember the name of the one I follow actually. I think it's Science Daily. You could subscribe to it. You pick the relevant topics. So the topics you're interested in. If you just machine learning, pick machine learning, and they will deliver um, research research papers and research updates to you daily. So you can read about what people are doing, the problem people are trying to solve, and then you could decide do you want to join them to solve the problem or do you have an alternate solution to the problem. You just have to be aware about what is happening in the world. What do people need? And then if you can solve it with data analysis, you have successfully monetized it.
Okay, good. In addition to what Fortuna said, I think I have something else to add. So if you're looking to monetize your data analysis skills, I think data analysis is one skill that people are really paying to get people to do for them. So not everyone has the skills to analyze data and all those things. So there are platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. I think both platforms, they are the ones I know for now. So those platforms, they allow you to, or they map anyone with skills like maybe data analysis or something. They map them with people that um need those skills. So you could basically be able to meet a company or an individual that has chunks of data and wants someone that will analyze for them. So I think Upwork or Fiverr is a great place to start also. So I think that should be good for you. So there are still opportunities to ask questions during the session. Yeah, so cognitive class is also a great platform to learn about data science. They have a couple of resources that are really beneficial, especially for beginners.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think we can round up the session now since no one has any question. Okay, so thank
Okay, I
you.
think one more thing I would like to say. There's there's this organization called AI Saturdays. Yeah. So all they do is every Saturday they hold classes on data science and machine learning related. So it's like a course. It runs for like 16, I think 12 to 16 weeks. So they do it twice a year. And if you don't know about them, I advise that I'll quickly type the name. Just check them out on Twitter. Search for AI Saturday. AI
I think
Saturday Lagos.
DSN also organized something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I know. I think in 2019, I attended a DSN bootcamp. Yeah, yeah. It ran for like 6 weeks or so. So DSN also organized. So you don't want to pay attention to the things happening in your environment. So be it DSN or AI Saturday. Yeah. So if you search these guys on Twitter, Facebook, we just completed a cohort. Yeah. So they'll be looking to start another soon. You get, so just start with their websites, their their handles on Twitter and yeah, Twitter, and keep tabs on them. So once a new course is about to start, they will share a link. So this one is for those that already know Python at least, or you could just start now and start learning Python. But those for those that already know Python, you just want to enroll into either their data science, machine learning track. And I would advise that you enroll into data science track first, and then you get the basic knowledge of the foundations basically, and then um in the next course you can take their machine learning, and then you can take um, their deep learning courses. So it's a long journey, but it's a journey that has to be taken because of the learning curve is not a horizontal line. It's quite steep. So you need to put in the time and the efforts, and then hopefully it works out for you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for tuning and everyone that was able to attend this session. So I think this session should get everyone started, if not everyone, like basically um it should be informative enough for everyone to get started with data science and machine learning. So like first thing I said before this at the beginning of the session, some people say AI is the future, while some people say the future is now, like AI is already here. So this is a good time to start your career in data science and machine learning. So thank you everyone for joining this session. So there's another question before we round up. The person's how important are certifications in the data science world? So I think that you should make it
Okay.
as brief as possible.
All right. So my answer to that would be people want to know if you can do it. why people regard certificates is because it is proof that you must or you probably know how to do the work. Yeah, you can just pick that and say, okay, since you have this certificate, you can assume that you know how to do the work. Yeah, but in reality, you do it's not what I put it. It is not, if you have the opportunity to get it, yeah, get certificates, even if they're online certificates. If possible, you could enroll into a school for that. There is World Quaint University. Let me quickly type that. I just remember this. But yeah, you could enroll into boot camps like AI Saturday that would give you certificates to prove that okay, you are you are someone that knows this work. But there's also the fact that you need to do projects. So doing projects is another way. Because if you're able to get to get to the point where you have a lot of projects on, say, your GitHub, and then you have one or two certificates, then definitely you would mean that you know what you're doing. You get also telling your stories is an important thing. But certificates on their own, I would say they are, if I was to rate it, they are moderately important. So I'll say on a mid scale, if I had 0 to 10, I'll say 5. Like if possible, yeah, get a certificate. But if you can't, it's not a problem as long as you know what you are doing and then there is proof that you know how to do data science or how to do machine learning. Yeah. So it is for proof. People are looking for proof because there's no inherent trust in everybody. So if you can prove that you can either with certificates or with projects, then I think you're good to go.
Yeah, I think that should be it. Yeah. So this session has been informative enough, and someone is just joining the session. We are already rounding up. Yeah, you can easily find
I guess you get the recorded.
yeah, the session is recorded, so you can easily get to see or watch the recording after the session. Multiple people are joining this session. What's happening? Yeah, so like I said, we are rounding up already, and the session is recorded, so everyone can easily um go to YouTube, or a link will be shared via the channel you guys found the link to this meeting. So the link will be shared to the recording actually. So okay, so definitely I would share the link to the group, and wherever place you're joining from, like the link will definitely reach you. So thank you everyone for joining this call once again, and it's a beautiful Saturday, and I wish everyone a beautiful weekend.
Same to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, someone says wait.
Okay. Yeah, it depends on where you're joining from. Yeah. So for DSC University of Ilorin, the link to join DSC University of Ilorin is over here. So we will definitely share it, to try our best to share it to wherever you're joining from. So mostly people that are here would either join from DSC Unilag study group for machine learning. Some will join from the general group for University of Ilorin. Some will join from Fortune Status and all those things. So I think Fortune will be able to also share a link to the recording
Yeah.
on the status, so everyone is able to get it. So if you want to join DS University of Illinois also, the link is in the chat. You can easily reach out and join. So it's free. So yeah, I think that should be it. Yeah. Okay. Fortune, they're asking for your Twitter handle. Yeah. So also, I'm not sure if anyone from Unilag is here to. Okay. I think I can also share the link to join Unilag. I'm not sure. Should be. Yeah, so I think that should be the name to join DSC University of Lagos.
No one is here. Ma.
So thank you everyone for joining the call, and I'll see each other in some weeks or some other time.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.